Show. Dear viewers, we are living in a very fast-moving society. The world is moving fast. We have hopes, we have dreams. At the same time, we have a lot of uncertainties. There are many unanswered questions among the young. Do we think our parents were wrong? We can do whatever we like. How do we stay afloat in a world where all the old paths are crumbling? How will we earn money tomorrow? Is our degree still relevant? Will we ever afford a house, have a pension, live happily ever after? Two economists, former Wall Street Journal reporter Vera Sprothen and McKinsey strategy consultant Nicolo Andreula have answers. They jointly written a book titled Flow Generation, a survival guide for our unpredictable life. This book is brimming with stories of people who found a formula to mastering uncertainty and precarious work. It also features dozens of pioneering startups from Stanford to San Francisco who offer gig workers exciting new ways to learn, save money, and buy a home. Tonight on Tritiyo Matra, we have with one of the authors of Flow Generation, Nicolo Andreula, who is in my left side, and let me introduce him in details briefly. Nicolo Andreula is an Italian economist, strategist, and public speaker, consultant, a former management consultant with McKinsey. He loves traveling far and wide in the world of work. He has taught maths to slum kids in Kenya, sold prostate drugs in Japan, and honed his financial skills at investment bank Goldman Sachs in London, an advisory job in Singapore, where he worked with Google, Uber, Microsoft, the World Economic Forum, and Netflix on public policy issues. Ignited his fascination with disruptive technology and societal change. He is regularly invited to speak at his high-profile events, that is, at Japan's House of Representatives, the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, or the APEC Senior Officers Meeting in Vietnam. He holds MSc in Economics from Bacone University and MBA from INSEAD. His research work has been featured on several international publications, ranging from Harvard Business Review to Forbes. Nicolo is working for positive change and living the liquid life himself as a freelance consultant, corporate trainer, and lecturer. Chinese University of Hong Kong, ACE firm. He runs executive education programs for Ferrari, JLL, and UniCredit Bank, and holds MBA courses and seminars in leading business school in Singapore and the Chinese University of Hong Kong. In my left, Dr. Sinha M. Sayeed, President, Leadership Studies Foundation, and many international organizations titled him as Global Voice. Welcome to the show, especially Nicolo.
Thank you for having me here.
Your first time.
Hello, everybody.
So let's start with your book. This is the book Nicolo wrote, Flow Generation. What's the motto behind to write this book?
The motive? Well, as I was working as a consultant for public policy and strategy, it was a very satisfying experience because it gave me access and exposure to some of the world's top tech groups and companies. I had many smart conversations with policymakers from all over the world. What I was not getting, though, was an access to the debate of Main Street. If you look at the rhetoric going on, especially in Western media, about the digital revolution, about automation, about economic change, is a rhetoric mostly fueled by fear and ignorance. People don't really have a clue of what's happening. They have a distorted version of reality. They think that robots are going to steal all the jobs. They think that they're going to go have a career which is going to be of a meager salary and uncertainty. They think that they will be worse than their parents in terms of income. In other words, they are afraid because they do not know what's happening. And frankly speaking, this leads people to take very short-sighted choices, sometimes also at elections, as well as in life. They do not know what to do, so they take one more master, just because they're afraid of getting themselves out there and look for a job. They do not know what to think, so they start talking bad about things or people they do not know. Technology, immigrants, digital nomads. What we wanted to do, Vera and I, when we wrote this book, was somehow building a bridge between economic reality and what people are discussing at home, in their bus, when they go to work, at school. We wanted to find a nice and clear way to A, explain what's happening, B, tell people why the future is different from their past, from the schemes of their parents that do not apply anymore to the world, and C, give them a nice perspective on the bright side, on all the opportunities that the digital revolution is bringing. Digital revolution is by no means perfect. It's raising inequalities, it's destroying welfare state, it's making rich so many people don't deserve it, it's killing a lot of jobs, figuratively speaking. But on the other hand, it's also creating so many opportunities. Many people that previously did not have access to education now can get the skills they need thanks to massive open online courses. Many people, even in Bangladesh, for example, who could not make ends meet, can find jobs at global scale thanks to online platform. Half of it, it's attitude, how much we know about it, and how much courage and hope we can find in the story of other people before us who have made it happen. And that is what the book is about.
And you start your book with a citation from Heraclitus, that is, no man ever steps in the same river twice, for he is not the same man and it is not the same river. Why do you took this?
For two main reasons. The first one is that I wanted to show people that the idea of change and having to cope with change is not a new one. Actually, Heraclitus lived 2,500 years ago. We are used to think that the world is evolving, and so we have to cope with this change ourselves. The second reason is that Heraclitus highlights a fundamental part of change that we sometimes overlook. Not only the world, in the metaphor, the river is changing. We are changing as well. Our preferences are also changing. The generation of our parents, at least in Europe, the so-called baby boomers, wanted only two things: stability and money. We are privileged enough as Gen X, Millennials, Gen Z, you name us, to be looking also for something else: lifestyle, values, impact. So the old schemes of give me a job for life and a nice salary and I will not complain does not apply anymore. Reality has changed and probably will not offer it to us. But we ourselves, deep down in our heart, know that we probably need something else now to be happy. And this is why we started with that.
And what you really wanted to say in your book?
We wanted to say...
You were telling about motive, but what you really wanted to say?
We wanted to say that the world has changed.
And finally, what you said?
We want to say that the world has changed. So instead of denying that the reality has changed and asking to go back to a past that will never return, you'd better learn how the new one is working. And that there's no reason to give up. But as long as we have the courage and the hope towards the future is better than what we may think.
But future is also uncertain.
Absolutely. But that is something we cannot change. So here, the choice is not between a certain future and an uncertain one. We just want to open people's eyes and say, look, volatility is higher. Is higher in finance, is higher for employers, for big companies, and is higher for workers. And closing our eyes to it will not bring the old world back. We'd better learn to cope with change and to understand that we ourselves need to diversify our risks, by choosing a portfolio career. We cannot think that what we study at university will serve for the rest of our lives, because knowledge is also evolving at exponential change. Think about somebody that studies communication, social media, or even engineering. At the end of the 4th year, what she has learned in year number 1 will be a good foundation, but will not be up to date. Or think about somebody who's 45 years old. Will her degree still be relevant? Probably yes, in the sense of mindset and foundation, but by no means can she think that she doesn't need to get updated every day, every week, every month.
Dr. Sinha, the unrest is everywhere in the world. So in these circumstances, what are the challenges for the millennials?
The first point is that my brother, Mr. Nicolo, said the future is uncertain, and I do differ. Future must maybe certain to some extent, but you have to focus the whole things. Here the question is who run the society, is the question of leadership. You are talking about the science and technology, and development may go on. In the field of science and technology, so many things will take place. But this has to be handled socially for the benefit of the society, for the benefit of the state and the international world. And there is the main focus of the time. The future is certain to some extent because leaders of the day must have vision, mission, how can go forward. And there is the question. So many innovations are coming, so many motivations are on there, reformation are there. But still, we say, you think of Ms. Aristotle, probably he is from your country. He says, real is more ideal than ideal itself. Real is more ideal than ideal itself. What Plato says, ideal is ideal, and real should follow the ideal. And that's the main debate in the field of society and socialism and all around the world. And sociological perspective is that. So our concern is that the more we go ahead, the more we advance, the more we should be integrated socially. And if we are in a position to go into it socially, politically, and culturally, then the question is, future is not so uncertain, because we're moving towards a certainty. In the field of space, you see, in the field of physics, so many developments are there, astrophysics, so many developments are there. In the field of religion, new interpretations are coming here. So new thoughts are coming, developing, side by side, because thing is one. If we want to have so many technological development devices around the world, we say this is an era of 5th revolution, industrial revolution. We say the digital revolution.
And what was what he was saying in this morning, that you never know after 15 years what kind of jobs will be available. So how do you prepare?
That prediction depends on your scientific development and devices. We know it. We have to know it. Otherwise, we can run the state. We have to know it. We can run the society. We have to know it. We can run the corporations. We have to know it. At least we have the vision. Say in Bangladesh, you say in the morning, the vision 2041. And you say what will happen? We don't know. Yes, we know. 2041, something will take place there because we have the vision. We have the plan in perspective planning. So we know it. Science cannot be allowed to run its own way. No. That would be the debacle for the whole civilization. And it happened in the past. But we can allow it. You are talking about Heraclitus. He says everything is changing. But change and continuity is the part and parcel of the civilization. No change is change if it does not have any continuity. Break up, debacle. But so far we believe, and so far we are experiencing these things. Now every change is supported by some modifications and new development, new things. That is called one step forward. One step forward. So what will happen after 20 years, 50 years? We can gauge it. We can foresee it. That's why we have to chalk out the plan. You say a lot of unemployment may be created. You say nobody can ensure you are serving here. After 4 years, the device got changed. It doesn't matter. Device may go tremendous change, doesn't matter. Because we have the vision, we know it. There will be changes, transformation here. So it is the planner of the society, of the state. They will think it, give thought on it. We know that these things will take place. We have to plan the whole things in such a manner so that we can get rid of all the traps of the devices, science and technology, and that is the best solution for the future. So future is always, always appears to be certain.
So what's your take on leadership?
My take on leadership is that I want to make a reflection about leaders. So there is a theory that says that the years 1980s have not had a clear follow-up, meaning right after the 1980s, the world order completely changed. Okay. People used to think that there were two ways of thinking, capitalism and socialism. Two countries, two systems, US and USSR. You knew who were the good ones and you knew who were the bad ones. No matter where you stood, you had a system of values in place. You had leaders that you would trust at religious level, at political level, and at economic level. After that, with the collapse of the Berlin Wall and all the things that followed in Western Europe, including the skyrocketing of public debt, people have started losing their trust in leaders. If you look at what Rachel Botsman from Oxford is saying about people's level of trust in first politicians and then institutions, it has dramatically lowered in the recent years. The future is so uncertain, not only because of technological change, which is inevitable, but also because we have lost the point of references that we have at the moment. So what we try to do with our book is, instead of telling people, look at this superhero politician, look at your neighbor, look at normal people who have made it. This for us is also leadership. Is you can be lucky enough or live in a country like Bangladesh that has a vision for 2041, where they say, we're going to become a developed nation, and that's it. And the vast majority of the country is behind that vision and know that they have a clear goal. But ask an American what's the vision for their country. He doesn't know. Ask an Italian, ask a German, ask a French. They have no clue what the vision for the country is. They don't even have a clue of what the vision is for their own life. In this sense, what you see about leadership is definitely something I agree with. We need a vision and a mission in our own lives. In the past century, we used to take this vision and mission from great characters that everybody knew. Right now, whilst we are still waiting for these great characters in history to appear, we have to look for leaders amongst ourselves and be a leaders ourselves of our own life. So if you allow me to say, the key for leadership is not only having a state ruler there that can inspire us, is also finding inspiration in the people next to you, in the people you read on books, in the people that, despite living a normal and humble life, have found with hope, courage, and optimism a solution for their problem and for their fears.
And then, Nicolo, technology has changed everything in our life. We know all. So how the millennial will survive and thrive in the growing gig economy?
The millennials. So this is the key question. First of all, what do the millennials really want in life? Some of them say, we want values, we want impact, we want to save the world. Okay, that's great. But their parents are saying, yeah, well, as long as you can pay for your own bills, you can do that. So we are a generation with great ideals, but if you allow me, sometimes little sense of reality. That's why in our book we say, look, forget about the millennials for a second, and concern yourself with a generation or community of people that flow, of people that somewhat realize that the world is changing so fast that you need to adapt. What do I mean by that? Having realized that the speed at which jobs are created and destroyed is higher than ever, you should consider having a portfolio career. You should not fixate yourself with the idea that you will be doing the same job for the rest of your life. You should be ready to change 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on average if you live in Australia, the job of your life. Don't think that you are a lawyer at 20 and you'll be the same lawyer at 50. You should at least be ready to change your specialty. Don't think that you're an economist in your 30 and then you will only study that particular thing. That world is over for good or worse. Also education. What we're saying is, in the West, people are afraid that their degree will not be worth as much as they were worth before. In Bangladesh, people may be happy because they say, look, finally, we're able to compete at eye level with Westerners. Finally, who is able to do something will be evaluated just for that and not whether he has a diploma from Harvard or from Bocconi. Reality is that to evolve, you need to understand two things. A, university still matters if you want to build a foundation, but that's not enough. And you need to exploit technology for all the opportunity it brings. When you're commuting on the bus, you can either watch Netflix or you can watch 15 minutes courses on Coursera and Udemy. When you are about to go shopping, you can either look at the prices on Amazon to get something cheaper, or you can install a nudge application that will tell you, this month you've spent $300 on shopping for clothes, and your target was only $200. Are you sure you really need this pair of shoes, or you'd better off saving for your pension? Technology can help us getting more educated, saving for our pension, getting a healthcare plan. If the state can help us, great. But whilst we wait for policymakers to update their legislative systems, there's so much we can do ourselves with technology and to live our own life independently.
Nicolo, according to you, stories and economic analysis for the world that's changing at breakup speed. How? Can you explain us with few stories?
Sure. So first of all, why stories? Because so many economists are just talking about numbers, numbers, numbers. And now I can cite you the fact that 85% of 2030 jobs will be created and do not exist anymore, that 45% of global companies think that they only need person with the right skills to grow, and many more numbers I could throw at you. But reality is that stories are a more lively examples of what reality is and stick to your mind in a much more durable way. My favorite story is the story of Lachlan. Lachlan is a Scottish man now, and when he was 16 years old, his family was struggling to make ends meet because the father lost his job. So Lachlan was living in Spain with his mother and his brothers, and the father was working in Russia in oil and gas. Life was great. They had a nice house and going to international schools while the father was earning a great salary. All of a sudden, the price of oil crashed, global economic crisis hit, and Lachlan's family had to sell the house, and the school was closed. Lachlan had nowhere to go, so he just had to hang in there. He could not go back to Scotland to study, and they had no more money to make him continue an international school. What did Lachlan do? And first, he tried to study independently, didn't manage. Of course, it was a big shock for him. Then he said, I'm just going to wait here in Singapore, when he followed his dad to the next job, to become a personal trainer. Now, Lachlan did not become a personal trainer when he got his diploma, because Singapore changed the law. So it's a series of unlucky events that will accompany him. And any person like us would have probably given up. Lachlan did not. Lachlan went to fight, literally, mixed martial arts in Thailand and Malaysia. Came back to Singapore and started working as a personal trainer for expats. And as he was training investment bankers, consultants, and businessmen, he said, why can't I be one of them? Lachlan, you don't have a degree. Lachlan, you've not been lucky in your life. Lachlan, sorry, the conditions are not there. You know what he did? He was working 6 hours a day as a personal trainer, and 6 hours a day he was studying on free online courses, until he became a marketing expert and launched his own brand of watches, online courses, and started marketing products for other people. Lachlan does not have a diploma, does not have a degree, and yet is now delivering world-class marketing activities. Right now, Lachlan has founded Lachlan Media, who's a leading niche consulting boutique in marketing, and is also our marketing expert, apart from being a good friend of ours, and managed to bring flow generation at the top of Amazon best-selling list for a few weeks in a few categories. The story of Lachlan is the story of many Bangladeshi out there, of many people that do not have all the resources and the skills handed to them on a silver plate, but still find the courage and the hope to find alternatives through technology, through their network, and do not give up. I have the feeling that in the West, we are too concerned about the things that are going badly. And only few people can realize how many opportunities there can be in these disruptions. I can tell you many more stories, but try not.
Dr. Sinha,
I'll leave it to Mr. Sinha.
how do you see this kind of transformation, and what is the ultimate result of this kind of?
There are two things that are here: transformation from the global perspective, transformation from the national perspective, local perspective. See, what is happening in the Western world, the developing areas, that is something different from us. Still, we are lagging behind. We have a lot of problems we can solve through the management system and leadership areas. In Bangladesh, take the quotation from Bangladesh, you see, you are talking about the Lucknow and something, micro level and macro level. That is the first two things. Because the crises of the Western civilizations are not the same, the crisis we are facing in the developing countries. You are far advanced in technology, in science, and all these things. But other thing with the way, you think the life is like this. But I believe life is like this. So the perception and definition of life from the perspective of two areas differ. So we are happy. What we have got.
Perspectives are different.
We are happy what we got because there are a lot of problems. Say, at this very moment, there are a lot of unemployed people are here, young people here. So every year we are having a lot of young people. They are having the degrees, they have the qualifications, they have the formal, informal educations. You say online, outline, inline, Google, all these things. So what is the importance of these things in Bangladesh? Because we are lack of industries. The labor market is not so high, it's not so wide, it is narrow. So our problem is within the boundary. So if we compare this problem with the Western world, it will not compete. You are thinking about that we will get the job, here is a law get changed tomorrow, no problem. Then again we see for something, well, no problem. This is called the age of specialization. In the field of law, there is so many specializations, even in law of contract, law of criminal, so many areas are there. Well, which could not be thought of even a decade ago. But today we are having thought on it. New law, digital crime, so many things are there. So it will take time on the part of us. Say in 2041, the population of Bangladesh might be double. You are planning the Bangladesh will go up to that level. But at the same time, you must bear in mind the population will be double. Then what will happen? Because the temperate zone, geographically temperate zone is the zone of vegetation, growth, development, genius, everything is here. Look at all the genius come from temperate zone. Either in the field of religion, in the field of science technology, even in America. What are the best one? They are not the product of American soil. They came from outside. It's a brain drain. So focus is coming from the Western countries, and they are having a sense that it will take place. You devise, you are not transferring your technology so lavishly. So you think whether I transfer it or not. If I transfer it, they will be developed. Problem will be there, my market will be lost. There's so many things are there. Deprivation are there. There are a lot of, maladjustment are there. Exploitations are there. And taken all these things together, our sense speak. We are not so frustrated. We believe, we dig something in the dark, we show there is a light.
But most of the young people in this country are frustrated. Recently, you have seen that there was a survey.
Because of lack of employment. They are having the degree.
And they are suffering depression.
Depression, definitely, psychological upset must come. Because where there is unemployment, you are getting the degree. Formal degree is there. You are talking about informal degree also. Formal degrees, lot of certificates are there, but they are not getting job. So what is the importance of all these certificates? You need the education system to be changed. Because you have to feed the education system with the move of time. We are lagging behind. Then what are the steps we should take? We have lot of commissions, lot of reforms are here. Still, in your country, the population is not so big. Area is very good. So you can think of so many things. But in our country, our thinking is something different. Basically, we want to be honest from the very beginning of our understanding. Exploitation never comes from this area, comes from the Western areas. You are selling arms, you are selling technology, you are selling rice, you are selling wheat coming from your side. Everything we are controlling. In the field of economics, in the field of business, in the field of commerce, you are the giants. So you are giving the lessons to the third world countries. Even you think the recent step taken by the American President Donald Trump in the field of climate change. Climate change. So everybody is of the same mind that climate change will have serious havoc. But he believes it's a trap. And he has got a lot of theorists, environmentalists around him. But we be comparing with the Mr. Ex-President, American President got the Nobel Prize on Environment. I forgot the name. What's his name?
Obama.
No, Obama. He was the Vice President.
Al Gore.
Al Gore. Sorry.
Al Gore.
He said Nobel Prize.
Nobel.
The Nobel Prize for Peace.
That is the main focus of our time. Where we are going to. What the mission. Should it survive or should it decline?
Nicolo.
So, Dr. Sinha, I adore the fact that you've introduced the theme of transformation macro level and transformation micro level. I grew up in a family where we were talking politics at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. When I was 16, we were talking politics in high school. I adore talking politics. And I do think that there's no bright future without a good state there, okay? So by all means, I agree with you that a transformation at global macro level is needed. And I myself think, write, and push for transformation there through the civil society myself, through participating to debate, through having the lack of sometimes writing on newspapers, intervening on TV, etc., etc. What's the point, though? The point is that, at least in my country, or in Europe, I do not know much about Bangladesh, to be honest, so I cannot comment on this reality. But let me tell you what I see happening in my country, is that so many people have completely outsourced to the state the solution of their life. True, there's no job. The state needs to chip in. There's no education. It's the state's problem. There's no healthcare system. It's a state problem. I cannot find myself a nice salary. It's a state problem. Only half of these claims are right. Whilst the state really needs to up its game in terms of healthcare system, welfare system, education, school, etc., and I agree with you, things have to change because Italy is not perfect, France is not perfect, and possibly Bangladesh is not perfect. What's happening in Italy now is that people are denying their responsibility, saying, look, the state has to provide, and I just have to be here waiting. This sense of endowment is a terrible problem for individual lives. Look what's happening with universal basic income. A lot of people are demanding universal basic income, but for the wrong reasons. They're saying, we need money to survive. That's true. Everybody should be entitled to have money to survive and go to school and have a pension, for sure, and have healthcare access. But the problem is that this is quickly becoming an excuse not to work. A lot of people are using the lack of a global transformation as an excuse to not transform their lives individually. And this is what our book is about. Our book doesn't say that politics is useless. Quite the opposite. We do believe in the need for political change and for the political debate. But we want to separate the two things. We say, take aside politics for one moment. What can you do in your life to make it better, to find a better job, to educate yourself? This is what people in Europe sometimes do not get. That whilst we are waiting and pushing politicians to do what they should, we can also do many things on our own. We can also download some applications and help ourselves save more money, live a healthier life, diversify our knowledge and our opportunities. I totally agree with you. A global transformation is needed. Policymakers such as Al Gore for the environment and probably a US president who is not Trump are needed to drive the world and the West. On the other hand, we should also become the leaders of our own life and understand that policymakers, not even the best ones, can change them but us.
And from here, in a liquid economy, remote workers in emerging markets can compete globally. What's your take?
They absolutely can.
How?
We are living in the scariest and most exciting world, depending on how we look at it. The so-called platform economy allows people from all over the world to sell their services at global level. Say that now I want somebody to make my PowerPoint slides. I can go to any platform, including Fiverr, for example, and ask, hey, is there anybody out there willing to do my PowerPoint slides for me? And I can get answers from Italy, Ukraine, UK, America. This is what many people do not understand. Competition is global, but global is also the base of clients. And I will not necessarily choose the cheapest price. I'm more than happy to pay a premium if I see that people from the other side of the world, even people they do not know, have good feedbacks, as long as quality is there. Before, everything was about brands, local languages, personal connection. Now it's about feedback. Decentralized trust. This is what Rachel Botsman talks about. Everybody in the world can, yes, compete with everyone, but can also show the quality of her output to so many more people. So what do we need to do? We call it find your superpowers. Know what you're good at and what the market wants. Because if you're good at something great and you cannot market it, good luck selling it. Then once you know what that is, do not be afraid of market yourself. Market yourself by learning A, how to market with social media, and B, how to do online advertisement by yourself. True, it's scary. It's a whole new world, but you need to be able to do that on your own.
Dr. Sinha.
From your sincere statement, it's clear that to some extent, can you tell me what is politics? Because you want to have bifurcation between politics and other areas. What is politics?
As a whole?
Yes. What do you mean by the politics? What is your interpretation about the politics?
Policy.
Politics.
Politics
Yeah.
is the art, if you want, or the passion for taking care of the things that are public, of everybody, of a common future. It's the art, the passion, and the mission of looking at common goods and making them better for the whole of society. It's taking care of the ones that are behind us and making sure that everybody can start from equal opportunities. This is what politics is.
And thank you very much, because you have, consciously, unconsciously, you have gone into the very deep of the whole thing of politics. Without politics, a modern civil state, society cannot run a single second. Your definition is very much comprehensive definition you have given by this time. But thing is that without politics, nothing can take place in the world.
I agree with you.
But thing is that we can talk about the nature of politics and the nature and the quality of the political leaders. That is the concern of the day. If there had been so many politicians, so many political parties, so many ideologies,
But we can't change the leaders.
we
We are
have to change it. We have to change.
We
These
have
are
to
must be
change.
changed.
Dr.
because-
Sinha, let me respond to your provocation. Sinha, let me respond to your
Yeah.
provocation. Also, food is essential for life. Yet we're not talking about food now. Food is essential for life, just like politics is essential for society. I wanted to write a book beyond politics. I love politics. I am a consultant for policymakers myself. I just wanted to write a book to give people no excuses to say that politicians have to solve all their problems. Just like I know I need to eat my salad, but I'm not talking about salad every day. I know that politicians are important, but they are not the only thing that matters to live a successful life. What is the best country in the world for you, according to politics?
To me, everything rotates around the politics. Wherever you go, even in Italy, you cannot do anything which is beyond the politics, because politics gives you the guideline. Fostering of a society, fostering of a development of the society, even institutions depends on the politics. Because if there is suppose there is a communism, you cannot think of capitalism there. If there is capitalism, communism. In America, communism is totally banned. In Europe, it is not so. So if you think from the soil of America, you have to think apart from the communist perspective. And that's why whenever you are talking about the politics, to me, politics is a part of life. It is a part of life, it is within life, it is beyond life, it is around the life. Because you need the policy, you need the guideline, you need the administration, you need the governance, you need the overall planning and vision. And within the vision, you may have lots of development, lots of technology, lots of thoughts, lots of education, lots of interaction, so many things. That's why I'm talking about the whole thing, because I observed from the very beginning of your start that to some extent you are trying to make a line of demarcation between politics and other things. Things not so. Whatever you are thinking, you are the product of Italian politics, environment. Italy politics is the product of Italian environment. That's why whenever you're talking to in Bangladesh, coming Bangladesh, I understand that you are talking not for me, you are talking from your perspective. So you are not trying to understand me, my pulse, my aspiration, my philosophies, my agonies, my frustration, my expectation. That's the problem. But whenever we are talking about a globally, that comes to the point.
But when you can't change your politicians, you can't change your.
No, I'm not saying that we cannot change.
I'm asking him.
Whilst we change, I agree with you, politics is part of life. I'm only saying that whilst we are changing we are trying to shape the political debate and the political framework in our society, we should also change our lives. I am not denying the importance of politics. I actually think it's a fundamental part of the world, and I myself spend so much time working and thinking about policymaking. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying that next to all of this, one should also work for change in his or her individual lives. That's what I'm saying. Aristotle said, we are political animals. I agree with him.
Yeah.
The man is a political animal. That's what he said, and I agree with him. I'm not denying it. What I'm saying is that apart from taking care of res publica, the common thing, we have to take care about our own lives. We cannot forget them. And what I'm saying is that too often we are blaming politicians, or we are demanding to politicians to take care of our own businesses. Because even if I give you the perfect welfare state, take Sweden, take Denmark, take any Nordic countries that you want, if people themselves do not cope with change, do not work hard, do not understand what they need to study, how they need to work, they are going to be unhappy and failed citizens. The state cannot do everything for you. The role of the state is to give you all the conditions that you need to live a successful life. But then whether you're successful or not depends on your own choice, and it's your own responsibility. That's the only thing I'm saying.
Yeah, Dr. Sinha, just in one line, please. Do you believe that Bangladeshi people, you said you have hope, you have dreams, you have sorrows, you have agonies. They are waiting for the politicians to make their life better.
Very important
Do you
question.
think the garments worker, ready-made garments
Very
worker?
important question indeed, because.
But we don't have enough time. We need to talk.
I quote from
many
you.
issues, yeah, please.
Aristotle says, every man is a political animal. It means every man has a responsibility towards his society. This animality shows, political animality, society, towards himself, towards the brothers, sisters, and around, and the world for the world. This sense, which I mean politics, without joining the political parties, without thinking politically, you are political in this sense, you are responsible to the society. Society wants something to you, and you are born to give something to the society. When you say, society will give me, I will take more and more from society, no. Diversity is something there. Each and every individual, from the very beginning of his birth, start of the birth, he is a political animal. It means he is obligatorily bound to think that I have a responsibility to myself and to my society.
And I agree with you.
That I say politics. That is, to me, that is a politics.
And I agree with you.
Yeah, thank
now,
you.
I appreciate the fact that for
Nicolo,
you it's hard.
Are people really going with the flow?
If they are. Few people are. Well,
Few people are.
Well, everybody has to go with the flow. Because the flow is there and you cannot stop. Now, do a lot of people accept that some change is inevitable, and rather than fight it blindly, trying to understand how they can surf these ways of tech disruptions, only a few people are. What I'm saying is that reality is changing so fast, at exponential speed, the Moore law says, that it's hard for many people out there to understand what they can do. So only few have understood it really. Otherwise, you wouldn't have all this fear. You wouldn't have all this short-sightedness. You would not have all this panic. So this is why we need more and more bridges between economic theory, information, and people's minds and realities there.
Okay. And how do you see the generation gap between our parents and their children
It's important.
in current days?
So our parents lived in a world where they had to get a degree that would serve them for the rest of their lives. The job that they were doing at 25 was the same job that they were doing at 65. Probably they would just advance in their career. And the state would take care of their pension, and the bank will give them a mortgage for their houses. These were 4 pillars upon which they lived their life quite successfully, and they based aspirations about ours. All these pillars have collapsed, unfortunately. They're not there anymore. So tell your parents that instead of taking one master, you want first to get some job experience. They will go crazy. They will say, education is everything. And they are right to a certain point. But what they fail to understand, some parents out there, is that you can get educated also at your 30s, 40s, 50s. Try to tell your parents, okay, why don't a 40-year-old go to school for 6 months? They say, are you crazy? You can only go to school in your 20s. After that, you can read a few newspapers, but that's all. So learning is not something that has to happen anymore only in your 20s. Probably should consider ourselves bound to the concept of lifelong learning. Unfortunately, no matter what Mr. Sinha is trying to make me say, I think that the state should take care of our healthcare and our pensions. But unfortunately, the state, at least in the West, is taking less and less responsibilities to do so. I will personally fight and encourage everybody out there to keep fighting in politics and in policies to do that. Meanwhile, you need to take care of your own healthcare systems and your own pensions. And you can do so whilst you talk politics and whilst you do politics, also at individual level, with new applications on your phone. Try tell your parents, hey, you need to download an application to save money. Some of them may agree. Some of them will say, are you really trusting this thing in your hand? What I am optimistic about is that even the older generation is quickly going up on the digital ladder. And even if they started Facebook exchanging pictures of little cats, now they know that they will soon be using Facebook also for financial services. Now, is Facebook the best platform to that? I do not know. What they mean is that digital literacy is quickly reaching also older generation, and that's a good thing to bridge the gap.
So very quickly and shortly, this is your first trip in Bangladesh. What you knew about Bangladesh, and how did you find Bangladesh in one day?
Sure. So when I said that I was going to Bangladesh, a few people were saying, are you crazy? Dhaka is dirty and dangerous. Don't go there. There's nothing to do and see. First of all, I started reading about it. And it's a country that's expected to grow at 8% GDP, something which is a mirage for our country. It's a country with 600,000 IT freelancers that are basically living and breathing the digital revolution. And it's a country with a great ambition of A, becoming a developed one in 2041, and B, shifting to a knowledge-based economy. True, Dhaka is a little bit dusty and dirty, but I found it full of smiles, full of opportunities, full of optimistic people willing to engage in discussions about their future and the opportunities that you can grasp. I found a lot of people, not only you as a wonderful host, Dr. Sinha and other people this morning and today, being very challenging intellectual sparring partners and willing to have a constructive discussion. I found also a few students of your think tank, or of people that you would engage in a conversation with, that are willing to learn more and understand more about their future. I was very pleasantly surprised. In the beginning, from what I read about Bangladesh, that somewhat fought what was the common knowledge about it, and then from what I experienced today, I'm looking forward to it.
And what's your suggestion for Bangladeshi young workforce?
I wish I had the solution. But again, first of all, education. We ran a project for the Asia Internet Coalition commissioned by some of the largest tech conglomerates out there. You know what their biggest problem is? It's not taxes. It's talent. They cannot find the right talent. As long as they keep studying and learning on the job, coding, STEM, soft skills, all the things that will matter in the economy of the future, not to be replaced by robots, but to work with them, to be complement with artificial intelligence, the future is theirs to grab.
Dr. Sinha, final thought.
I'm very happy to learn from you that you landed Bangladesh with a very negative idea about the thing, because somebody give you some idea about Bangladesh. But now you are in Bangladesh, having the blessings of the people of Bangladesh and having the taste of Bangladesh. And I believe the experience you gathered by this time, to some extent, changed your idea, changed your perception about Bangladesh. And that is the plus point, and plus point for us. And credit goes to Mr. Julur Rahman, who has invited you to visit Bangladesh. And I believe personally, the more the European people come to Bangladesh, they will understand Bangladesh, and they feel free to think of us. And I pray to Allah so that more and more European people come to Bangladesh, mix with the people here, and have the exchange of minds and mindsets, so that more and more better things produce here. And we are waiting for that days.
Nicolo, your concluding remarks.
I can't agree more with you. I would say that when I landed to Bangladesh, I did not have negative expectations because I had already read a lot about it. But yes, Bangladesh has somehow a mixed feelings in people that have no clue about what this country is. It's a wonderful country with its challenges, but it's also a wonderful country with opportunities, hopes, and optimism, and a great vision. And lastly, I would like to thank Mr. Julur Rahman for the wonderful experience.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sinha Sayeed and Nicolo Andreula, for joining us. Dear viewers, we have to go with the flow. We have to live with the changes, and we need the politicians. We have to live with politics, and but we'll have to believe that we can do many things. As Nicolo said, we have to do many things by our own. That's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us.